What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Patrick here. Moving on to the next example. So here we have to find the degree of this expression below. And this one's going to be a little bit tricky. There's a bit of a curveball that's thrown in it compared to other ones that we've done. Usually in other ones, if you notice, it's basically a bunch of factors that are multiplying. Like these two factors are multiplying here. But what's going to make this one tricky is we have this minus x squared y to the power of 8 at the end, which is actually going to change things. So if we follow our usual process, what do? We take each factor and we find the expression with the highest degree. So notice that in this factor, x squared plus x, there's like x to the 1 here, y squared. What's the highest degree? Well, we got a degree of 2 here. When we add these exponents, this expression has a degree of 3. So usually we take the highest degree, or the expression with the highest degree in the factor, and then if there's any exponents on the outside, we're going to have to square it. And then in this factor here, what's the highest degree? We have x to the 1 and y to the 4. Well, it's obviously the y to the 4. And then if you expand this, right, so this 2 gets distributed to both of these expressions, y to the 4. So this is going to be x squared. This is going to be y to the 4 times y to the 4, which gives us y to the 8. We would add the exponents, right? But notice that we had this minus x squared y to the 8 the whole time. Okay, so if you notice what happens, well, basically, that highest degree, like if we were to expand this all, that highest degree term, x squared y to the 8 that we got from these two factors multiplied, it's going to cancel out with that x squared y to the 8 that's floating around at the end, right? Because it's like a minus here. And so that's what is tricky. So we're not going to get the highest degree if we were pretending like we were expanding all this. We're not going to get the highest degree with this process because our highest degree term is going to cancel out with this term. And so what we're going to have to do is think about it a little bit more deeply if we were to expand this, okay? Now, from this factor here, right, this x to the 1 plus y to the 4, it's obvious that the y to the 4 is going to be the highest degree. However, here, now that we can't really use this term, right, because we know it's going to cancel out in the end, what we have to do is we have to see what would happen if we were to FOIL this out. So notice that there's two terms here. So let's write x squared plus xy squared times x squared plus xy squared, like that. And so if we FOIL this out, we'll have what? X to the 4 plus x squared times xy squared would give us what? X cubed y squared plus, same thing here, x cubed y squared plus this and this multiplied is going to be x squared y to the 4. But remember, we're not going to end up using this one, right? Because when we multiply by y to the 4, it's going to give us that same term, and that's going to cancel out. But let's do the full expansion here. So this would be 2x cubed, right? These are like terms here. 2x cubed y squared plus x squared y to the 4. So, okay, if we can't use this, this had a degree of 6, but again, we're not going to be able to use that. What's the next highest degree? Well, notice it's coming from this term, right? The 2x cubed y squared, which, if you add these two exponents, that gives us a degree of 5, right? So you got to be careful. You got to pretend like what would happen if you expanded this, because if you just said, okay, I'm not going to use this and I'm going to use the x squared instead, well, you would have x squared and then you'd square, you get that x to the 4, which is what we got here as well. But notice that 4 is not the highest degree that you would get when you expand this entire term. It would actually be the degree of 5. It would be from this term right here. All right, so that's what is that's what's tricky about this question. So what I'm going to do is let's erase all this. So from this green factor, right, we said that the highest degree is going to come from this term, 2x cubed y squared. And then we know that the highest degree from this one is going to be y to the 4, like that. Okay, and then again, this minus x squared y to the 8 is canceling out with this one, right, after we multiply it by the y to the 4, so we could ignore that one now. We already know the highest degree is not going to come from there. It's going to come from this term, coming from these, this first factor that's squared, that's the highest degree, multiplied by y to the 4, the highest degree from this one. And so when we expand this, we would get what? 2 x cubed y to the 6, right? You add these exponents here. And so what's the highest degree? The next highest degree is 9. So that's the answer. The degree of this expression is actually going to be 9, and it's going to come from this term if you were to fully expand this out, right? If you took this expression and put it into like a calculator, like an online calculator, like Symbol Lab or something like that, and you said expand this, you would see that the highest degree would come from this term right here. So the degree is 9, not 10, because those x squared y to the 8s canceled out. All right, so the degree is 9.
And that is the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you want to find more videos like this, you can go to my website, allthingsmathematics.com. Over there, all my courses are organized for both high school and university. All the videos are organized by chapter. Also, if you have any questions, you can hit me up. My contact details are also on the website. Enjoy your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.